Greetings, everyone. It's Chris Denman, and We Are Live is coming up in just a moment. Wanted to take a quick second to thank all of you for subscribing to the new YouTube channel. Right now, it's Media Outlaws, so be sure you subscribe on YouTube. Got a lot of cool things going on. Big shout out to Matt McElrath and the team of people that make it possible. I'm here at Midcoast Studio. It's March currently, and we're dealing with the Corona stuff, and it's scary, but I think we're going to make it through. So everybody just be careful, be smart. All the precautions you feel like you need to take. So hope everyone is affected by it as little as possible. But wanted to do a quick thank you to a bunch of our sponsors. As you know, we've had the $1,000 karaoke challenge at 1860s Bar and Saloon in the game room going on. That's been an absolute blast. Everybody's been wonderful for that. And big thanks to Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple for that and for making it possible. We've had an absolute blast with that. If you do a karaoke competition, you kind of get worried people are going to get nasty, whatever else. I don't know what about it, but everybody's been super cool. And as we record this, we'll be giving away our $1,000 prize tonight at 1860s. So thank you again to Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple, 1860s. Be sure to support them because they make things like that possible. Other thank yous, Gateway Powder Coating's been with us for a while. They're going to continue working with us. They do wonderful work. They're the #1 powder coating resource in the Midwest. Check them out, gatewaypowdercoat.com. Our friends at St. Louis Counseling Services, check out Mental Health Matters, their podcast. You can see it on the website. St. Louis Counseling Services does wonderful work, and they've been helping out in St. Louis for a very long time. So contact them for any counseling needs you may have. Our friends at Sophie's, that's right. Jack Daniels made that possible. Sophie's right here in Grand Center in St. Louis, 3224 Locust. We do free comedy each and every Thursday. So big thanks to them and all of our other wonderful supporters. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're getting your podcasts, make sure you're taking care of that. Also, quick note, if you're looking to podcast in the St. Louis area, we produce several shows here. They all go very smooth. Really proud of everybody who's recording here. It's been a consistent push as we grow this network of friends, kind of just doing what we love. A little podcasting, a little conversation, and we do it for you. That's right. Some conversations are going to continue happening. We're going to keep these We Are Live episodes with myself, Chris Denman, pushing forward. We're going to get a live stream kicking off with our guy Matt next week. We got all kinds of fun conversations. Beth Stelling is supposed to come by. As of today, it's Thursday, so she'll be here the Friday after. I'm sure you guys can check that out as well. She's at Helium all weekend long. So again, support the comedy shows we do, support the events. We've got Target Practice presented by Jack Daniels on March 28th. Obviously, we're going to keep the health concerns in check when we do that, but you can get tickets online. If for some reason, health related or other, there's a cancellation or push, your tickets will still be good for the next show. So always got to be fair with that. But huge show coming up. That's March 28th. We got 8 comics. Target Practice Row Show. I'll be hosting that. It'll be a hell of a time. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live. We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live.
So we are live, Chris Denman at Midcoast Studio in Grand Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Got my old friend Buzz from Buzz's Hawaiian Grill in studio, wanting to chat it up. It's about to be food truck season. Thought I'd have Buzz stop by for some fun one-on-one conversation. Great to see you. You look festive.
Aloha.
I appreciate the shirt. It's very on brand, and I appreciate that about you. Good to see you, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Buzz, you're a Food Truck Awareness Month champion. You were recently on a internationally aired TV show, probably.
Yeah.
What's it like being such a big star now, man?
It's surreal. I mean, I have to say that it
People
still
stopping
hasn't
you in the
sunk in.
street,
You
yeah.
know, it's kind of like they filmed, it aired. I just keep trucking on, and I
like
get
that.
text all the time. Just watch you on the food truck channel or on the cooking channel.
For
One guy told me he was tired of seeing me. I'm on all the time. I'm like,
maybe you watch less TV.
Turn it
man.
off.
Yeah. That is. Let's jump right into that. So, if for people that don't know, tell them what show you were on, and let's jump into the process. Like that's actually pretty interesting because a lot more people, obviously with reality TV these days, can say they've been on TV, but not everybody knows the process it goes through, right?
Right. I mean, out of the blue, we got a phone call from one of the producers of the show.
Yeah.
And it is
What's the name of the show? Food Truck Nation.
Food Truck Nation with Chef Brad Miller.
Okay.
And it's on the cooking channel.
Yeah.
And so the producer contacted us and said that they were coming to St. Louis and they were wanting to film a couple trucks and that we were, recommended to them and they wanted to do some research. So they started looking and digging into, two of our dishes that they felt were on their radar was our Kalua pig, smoked pig, Hawaiian style, and then our poke. So they were intrigued that here in the Midwest there would be a Hawaiian style food truck.
Did they think they were going to show up and it was like gas station sushi in a truck or something? Like
I don't know what their expectation
Yeah.
was, but they, definitely from what I can tell, they were impressed with our efforts to be authentic. You
Yeah.
know, the ingredients, the recipes, my adherence to what I know from living in Hawaii, and I have children there, and we go back all the time, is the food truck. I mean, not the food truck scene, but the plate lunch scene.
Yeah.
That dates back into the 1940s, 50s.
So you lived in Hawaii, and then obviously you still have family there. You pride yourself as having as good or even better than at times Hawaiian food than you would get in Hawaii.
Well, I don't claim that.
I
My
mean, you
goal
kinda-
would be to have authentic what if I was, if somebody lived in Hawaii, moved back to the mainland, somebody who was born and raised in Hawaii is living in the mainland.
Right.
There's more people from Hawaii, born and raised in Hawaii, living in St. Louis than we really realized. The food truck kind of brought them all out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Military people who have been stationed in Hawaii, all those demographics get hooked on Hawaiian food. And when they move to other parts of the world, they're lost. They miss those dishes, the local moko plate lunches, the chicken yakitori, the teriyaki steak sandwiches. It's just there's a whole group of food that are unique to the Hawaiian plate lunch scene that you can't find outside of Hawaii.
Is that because it is such a unique mix of so many different styles or cultures, or I mean, and then
Yeah, dating back into the plantation era of Hawaii before it was even a state, one of the 50 states, is that they were the plantations for the pineapple and the sugar canes, and they had immigrants from Puerto Rico. They had the missionaries from the New England states. They had a lot of shipping trade coming in from South America, coming around the Cape. There was no Panama Canal. Up along the western coast of California, picking up the Mexican cuisine, the cuisine from the northwest of America. And then you also had the immigrants from China, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, the Philippines, also all coming in as workers of the plantations, bringing their food with them, and not necessarily having all the ingredients they needed from their home countries and having to improvise. So, the food in, the Filipino food in Hawaii historically has a little bit of a twist to it because it doesn't have all the native spices from the Philippines or from Korea. So it does have a
that
little.
makes sense. No, I'm curious too. So how long did you live in Hawaii?
I was there for 6 years.
6 years,
Yeah.
gotcha. And then did you just become obsessed with the foods because your background's in aviation?
Yeah, it is. I was an air traffic controller at Honolulu International.
Hence the name Buzz.
Yes.
He doesn't just walk around semi-drunk all the time.
No,
That's not
or
what it is.
buzzed.
Yeah, exactly.
And I lived on the North Shore in Laie,
Yeah.
which is just you're immersed into the local scene. You're away from Honolulu. You're away from the tourism. But I would drive every day an hour or more, depending on traffic, to Honolulu International, which is on the complete opposite side of the island.
Yeah.
And so my days off and my afternoons and things like that were on the North Shore, enjoying the local lifestyle, the fishing with my brother-in-law, Richard, learning about, the local food, but mainly, from the Laie drive to downtown, I'm passing all different parts of Oahu, and they're kind of like in St. Louis. We have the segregation of the different parts of the city where, you say, well, this is where, the hill is, where the Italians were, and this is where the Croatians were, and this is Germantown, and this is Dogtown for the Irish. Oahu and other parts of the islands are kind of the same way, where they'll have areas that are more concentrated in Koreans or more concentrated in Japanese. And along the way, you're hitting different restaurants, and some of those are those plate lunches that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So I have my favorite plate lunch spots.
Right.
That when we go back, we have to go visit,
Of course.
Yeah, Rainbow Cafe and Zippy's, places like that. Leonard's Malasadas, which is the Fat Tuesday donuts. They're Portuguese donuts, but they were brought to the islands by Leonard's Bakery, which is a Portuguese family.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That adds to the flavor. I wouldn't even think about Portuguese influence in Hawaiian food.
It's very large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you make it to St. Louis. You've got the truck. Do you find it to be difficult as a small business owner to produce that authenticity?
The ingredients are a little tough. We like for our poke, we fly in the red ogo seaweed from Kahuku.
Which is not done.
No,
Yeah.
There's nobody else that even understands that that's a necessary ingredient
Right.
to poke. Is seaweed. So of some sort. It doesn't all have to be from red ogo, but
Yeah.
that's what we prefer. That's what we used.
What is it? Is that harvested? Does that come from?
Yeah, it's actually farmed.
Okay. I was going to say that'd be
There's a high-tech marine agriculture farm up by Kahuku in the where the shrimp farms are. So up in the north, as far as you can go north on Oahu, there are shrimp farms and prawn farms. And when I was living there in the 80s, those things were brand new.
Yeah.
And they just had a shack out on Cam Highway, which is short for Kamehameha Highway. Goes all the way around the island. And it's they're just a shack, and you just stop by and you could buy shrimp by the pound. Yeah.
Sounds so nice.
It's grown to this massive industry now.
Right.
If you get on Google Maps and look at the area I'm talking about, you can see the ponds, and there's just tons of these ponds. Well, it's grown into also an agriculture of different types of seaweed,
Right.
And what's called sea asparagus, and then that's shipped, all around the world, and so that's where we get it from. It's legit stuff, and
No, that makes sense. Yeah, but that's something that you go out of your way to do, and it's knowing you as a person, and then as people are listening, you'll kind of see like that's who you are. Like that's what you have to do. Like you're not gonna call out of respect for the culture and everything else. You're not gonna call yourself Buzz's Hawaiian Grill and do it half-assed.
Right. I mean,
You're not gonna do like a main. It's not like a mainland version. You're gonna do the Hawaiian version.
That's correct. I mean, the whole point of it is that when locals, Hawaiian locals, come to the truck and they taste the food and like, oh, brother, you took me back. I've been
Does
in
it
the.
take you back hearing a Hawaiian like accent almost? Right.
Oh, I love it.
it
It's pidgin.
Okay,
and there's just a connection there. And when I moved there, I didn't understand it. I mean, I literally didn't just that I didn't understand what people were saying.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why they spoke that way.
Mm-hmm.
And in some instances, you could almost, I say almost, I'm trying to be almost polite to myself, be condescending, think you're better than them because of how they're not speaking proper English.
Right.
That's such an ignorant viewpoint, and now I'm a defender of that. A defender in the sense of once you live there and you know the people and you understand the culture, you really get that that's part of their life.
Right.
That's their dialect.
Yeah.
It's not something they should be judged by.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with their intelligence. And then once you get to that point where you truly understand that and embrace that, then it's something that you revel. It's almost like a spice in the food. When somebody is a local and they take our poke and they eat it and they say, "Oh, brother, I haven't had this in 8 years since I left the islands."
Yeah, because you don't think about that. That's your home.
Then I know I'm succeeding.
It's tough to get back there.
That's the impression I was trying to have on the Midwest, is for people to understand what the Hawaiian cuisine was. My background is not culinary.
Yeah.
It's not. It was more me saying to myself, I'm tired of living in St. Louis and nobody knows what Hawaiian food is and how good it is. And when there is something Hawaiian, they've stuck a pineapple in a chicken dish, right? Or pineapple pizza, which is really Canadian. It was created by a Canadian pizzeria who took Canadian bacon and stuck pineapple on it. And in Canada, he called it Hawaiian style pizza. Now, people in Hawaii don't eat pizza with pineapple on it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean,
just like anywhere else.
it didn't come from there.
It's not some staple that Hawaiians grew up in. Oh, always Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah, because when we think of toasted ravs and when we talk about buffalo wings coming from Buffalo, those are legit. They came from those regions, and they get credit for that. Kansas City barbecue, South Carolina barbecue is going to have coleslaw on it, right?
Yeah.
Hawaiian pizza is not Hawaiian.
Right.
Right. And so what my goal was to embrace the cuisine and to share it with St. Louis. I never envisioned that it would get the notoriety that it did, which is good because it furthers my cause.
And it's just the start, really. Like 4 years old, 3 years old.
Yeah, 3 years old.
That's crazy to think that you have, and again, too, it's all relative, right? Like, it can all go away. How the business goes, like all that stuff. But it is crazy to think that something that started as not your normal career that you jumped into and you went head on into it. And technically, could you retire right now if you wanted to?
Oh, yeah. My wife has retired. And is begging me to retire so that we could move back to Hawaii.
Yeah, and you're like, my work's not done.
Yeah, and I'm like,
they don't quite get it yet. I need
I'm not
more.
finished. I have more to explore.
So so operating out of the St. Louis area, what have you seen in your time on the food truck scene? Because if you go back, I don't know, we'll say 12 to 15 years ago, food trucks were maybe cool in California, but they weren't what they are now. They were something that pulled up to a construction site that you bought frozen food off of, right?
Right.
Like that's kind of what most food trucks or most people's thoughts of food trucks were. I'm sure there were plenty of cool hip spots, but it wasn't the big phenomenon that is now. And then now, you're part of the Food Truck Association here. You said there's over 50 trucks in that association, and that's in the St. Louis area alone.
Right.
There's plenty more that aren't part of that, I'm sure. What has changed the most in your time on the food truck scene? Because I almost wonder, did it peak, and then now it's down here? Is it leveled out? Is it growing? Like where is it in St. Louis right now?
Yeah, I think in St. Louis, just talking about our home.
It's embraced.
Home city. Yeah. It is embraced, and you see the Food Truck Friday events, and there's large crowds.
They do a great job of that.
Yeah, they do, and the season's coming. We're excited about that. The slam events at the St. Louis Art Museum movie night are very popular. We're starting to see more and more. Cities like St. Charles have events, but they're definitely in their infancy.
Right.
And I'm speaking from a consumer's point of view on that as much as I am from a food truck owner, operator point of view, is that when in Hawaii, on the Leonard's Malasadas, I talked about them. They have a bakery downtown Honolulu. That is just, you go there in the line, to get donuts.
Yeah.
You're going to wait 30 minutes or more in line.
It's that big of a spot.
It's
a staple.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they had a food truck, red and white stripe food truck, in the late 70s. And when I lived on the North Shore in the early 80s, there was nothing better than seeing the Leonard's truck in the Safeway Shop and Save parking lot, you know, because you're on your way to work and there it is. You've got to stop because I don't have time to go to.
Right.
I don't have time to go down by Waikiki and pick up.
With the good stuff.
But there it is,
Right.
and they're making them fresh right there on the truck. And that whole scene has morphed. I talked about the shrimp shack in Kahuku. Now there's a well-established for, multiple years, the shrimp truck scene.
Right. That's so funny.
Just blown up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's walking. It's literally a walk across the street from my grandchildren's high school.
Oh, very nice.
And they just, you can just walk across the street and there's this food truck park.
Yeah.
And when I say food truck park, I don't mean this luxurious park. I just mean trucks are parked. They're there every day. They don't move. Mm-hmm. They've built pavilions for people to sit and eat.
Yeah.
And
it's a staple.
Go eat shrimp.
Right.
From the Kahuku shrimp trucks. Giovanni's is probably one of the most well-known garlic shrimp. And so in Lent every year here in St. Louis, we offer garlic shrimp.
Nice.
We don't carry it all year long.
It's a big seller. Gotta be.
It is. And it's a delicious. We just love the garlic sauce that we make on rice is delicious. But,
Right.
you throw in some protein. You got some shrimp got to be in there.
Yeah. The St. Louis being so Catholic is something like, I'll just always assume everywhere I go, like, that fish is sold everywhere during Lent season. No, it's not. This is the most Catholic area. Like, it's crazy how that is just something that's just normal to us.
Yeah. So that we feature the garlic shrimp during Lent because it's a good time to get out of that winter food where we carry heavier things like paniolo chili. Paniolos are the cowboys that came from Mexico and Southern California to tame the wild steer on the Big Island, which was dropped off by Captain Vancouver. And they just ran feral and just breeded like crazy and went crazy on the Big Island. And so they ended up bringing over 100 years later, they brought over cowboys from Mexico and Southern California to teach the Hawaiians how to ranch, how to,
Boy, you don't
wrangle them up.
You kind of glaze over that if you're just listening, but so deer are a problem enough. Like when there's heavily populated areas of humans, deer are one thing, and they can kill you if you run over. Like you can crash, and a big deer will take out a whole vehicle.
Right.
Now, times that deer times 10.
Yeah.
In size, potential aggression, other things. Again, say what you will, but you
bulls
get a bunch
gone
of people,
crazy.
you don't want to be out walking your dog and a freaking 1,200-pound beast that doesn't care for you is around the corner.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Yeah.
True, but we're talking about an era when there was not yet automobiles and people were not out there walking their dogs.
Right. Yeah.
It was in the 1900s,
Right.
and they brought over the cowboys who brought over chili, and you mix together the Portuguese. You mentioned, you not realize.
Yeah.
So a huge dish in Hawaii is Portuguese bean soup.
Okay.
Using Portuguese sausage.
Yeah.
That you can't find pretty much anywhere. Even a lot of the East Coast of America who has Portuguese population aren't using the Portuguese sausage from Portugal and not from what Hawaiians use as Portuguese sausage.
Interesting.
And the Portuguese sausage, the Portuguese bean soup, and then that Portuguese sausage being used in chili from the cowboys, trying to basically take the spices they could find and the meats they could find and come up with the chili.
Yeah.
And, Paniolo chili was born in Hawaii. and we serve it in the wintertime.
Right.
And then we morph into the garlic shrimp in the Lent, and then we do the fish tacos during the summer. And people come in November, December, and it's like, I like to order fish tacos. And we're like, that's a summer dish. We're a food truck. We don't have unlimited
Right.
space on the truck. So, we rotate our dishes seasonally in order to give people a variety and a different taste of Hawaii. And, back to the Portuguese sausage, if you go to McDonald's in Hawaii and you get a breakfast meal, you'll get it with Portuguese sausage.
That's a nice surprise for you when you're over there.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Like,
I
oh,
mean,
hey,
it's like
yeah.
grandkids come here to visit,
Right,
and
yeah.
there we go to have McDonald's breakfast. Or what? No Portuguese sausage? It's like, yeah, that's just in
Hey,
Hawaii.
Sorry, buddy. Yeah.
know?
No, wait. So, as a food truck owner, is having to be mindful of your space and your food that you're bringing, expiration, all that stuff. Do you think that helps, just makes you think more, or is that a super hindrance that makes things really difficult?
Well, I think every restaurant operation
Absolutely.
has those challenges. They might have a special, and if the special is very popular, they run out of that.
Yeah.
And if it's not very popular, it gets to the end. It's like, now what do we do? We have another special. We grind the meat.
Salmon soup.
Yeah,
You see a lot of soup specials after Lent.
we smoked the salmon, and
Yeah.
now we didn't sell it all. Let's
Right.
make it into
It's on
salad.
a bed of spinach now. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think all restaurants kind of have that challenge of being strategic
Right.
in both in your planning and your execution.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge that a food truck has is that you don't have the meal service that a restaurant potentially has.
Right.
And you also don't have the space, the service space.
Right.
So if you just had your full kitchen, we have a commissary in Brentwood, and where we do most of our food prep and our food storage. If we had that size kitchen to operate out of, we could offer it more on a regular
Fire it
basis.
up, yeah.
Right. But because we're going to take it onto the food truck, where we have limited refrigeration space, we have limited cook,
Health standards.
and we have health standards that we, shall meet. And so it does, change things. We can't have garlic shrimp all the time. And there's also an expectation with food trucks to turn meals fast, even faster than fast food.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean,
people are physically standing and waiting, and I think that makes it
yeah,
more
and they
like,
for some reason think that food trucks are going to be faster than McDonald's,
Right.
And it's like, we do our best.
Yeah.
But if you want an egg on your kimchi fried rice, an egg's going to take 3-4 minutes.
Sure.
Unless we just botch it.
Yeah. have it
we
ready.
want a nice egg.
Yeah.
Over easy egg. You
Gotta
want a
do it
nice
right.
sunny up
Yeah.
egg so that the yolk spills. I mean, that takes some time.
Absolutely.
So there's some challenges. A lot of the majority of food truck delivery time is lunch, and people are on a tight lunch.
Right.
And so
Man, so true.
you want to give them some of those customized features, but you also have that time crunch you're trying to.
Because there's realities.
There
to
is
it.
a reality
So-
that they only have maybe 30 minutes
And
for lunch.
where do you make a large portion of your sales? Corporate campuses.
Right.
And who's the most strict about lunch? And that
Right.
corporate campus.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's something where they're going to look at you. They're like, I have 17 minutes. You better get this baby out. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, that's how
So
it works.
one of the things that we've done to combat that challenge, because that's how I look at a lot of that stuff, is like, it's a challenge that as the owner of the business, I
Yeah.
get to come up with a solution. How do we make that work in our favor? Is we now have order ahead. And I mean, a true order ahead, not just, hey, text your order to me. And
How does that work? They pay, obviously.
yeah,
right?
we have an
they order
online
and
menu
pay.
that they go on to. It opens
Just
up.
queues up.
It we set it the morning of,
Mm-hmm.
but ordering doesn't start until the window opens. So if we're scheduled to serve lunch from 11 to 1, the order ahead's not going to start until 1 o'clock. And then they go on. We have a very sophisticated menu that allows them to pretty much customize everything they could do if they were in person. We've tried to think of everything that everybody asked
Yeah.
for. If they want an egg, there's an additional fee. What type of egg do you want? Do you want it over easy hard? Do you want it over easy? Do you want it over easy?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, sunny side up.
Interesting.
You know, do you want certain sauces on the side? Do you want to add a slice of fried Spam? Do you want extra meat? Do you want extra mac salad? Do you want to upgrade to Hawaiian fried rice instead of just the regular white rice? All that is on there so that they can place their order from their cell phone or from their computer. And then we send them back a pickup time, an estimated time. We can say, okay, we estimate it'll be done in 10 minutes. And then when it's actually ready, they get another notification. It's ready for pickup. And then that way they can maximize their lunch experience. They can just walk down to the truck. We already have it bagged up.
Right.
They pick it up. They go back to their desk. They haven't stood in line waiting their 10th in line, and then they want a sunny side up egg.
I mean, think about how crazy all the work that goes into this. That a software developer, an application developer had to make that. And you were operating on small margins, man. You got to pay attention to every penny in that
and
situation.
we looked hard at the other ones, the Grub Hubs and the Uber Eats and things like that. We couldn't find anybody who really catered to food trucks.
Interesting,
we
because there are differences that people don't realize. Yeah.
There is. They
Health
want you to be a brick and mortar. Even though they call me every day wanting me to sign up.
Right.
When we really get into the weeds of setting up a system, they're like, oh yeah, you can't be a truck that moves around all the time. We need to know where you're going to be every day. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we'll see. That's why we're
Thanks
not.
for the call.
Stop calling.
You hear that, Uber?
Yeah.
That's right. Stop calling.
So we just don't fit their model.
Yeah.
And we found a system that does fit our model, and it's working well, but it hasn't caught on in my mind. It's just called Order Ahead. It's on our website.
Easy enough.
Yeah. Or it's on Street Food Finder. You'll see a big banner next to our name that says Order Now.
Right.
And we're going to use it this summer to just park our truck and have like dinner service, and people can just order ahead if they could be ordering from driving down the road. Yeah. And they can order and just drive up, pick it up, and go take it home.
Rock it out. That's fantastic. So, in regards to what you want to do with Buzz's Hawaiian Grill, how do you want to expand? Do you have expansion plans? I mean, at a certain point, so I see it doesn't always work with restaurants in St. Louis. It's like, okay, so you have your staples, and it's like they're obviously anchored, and maybe they'll figure out a way to put their sauce in a grocery store or something like that. But there's always, you try and always expand past your walls, right? Whether that's whatever. So with food trucks, especially yours, it's unique. Feels like you're growing. You're in year 4. What do you want to do? Is it brick and mortar? Is it another truck? Like, what's the plan for you? Yeah.
So I'm not in this to get rich. So I don't intend to over expand.
That's ultimately that's the thing. When you see a local place start, they're risking saying, "Hey, we think this concept's going to work in another neighborhood. Let's go for it," which is fairly common. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that feels like the only way to really skyrocket things.
Yeah. Well, I'm constantly being advised by friends to have a brick and mortar. Yeah. And I'd be lying to say, I'm not always looking around for the perfect brick and mortar spot for me. Yeah. The one that's got the feel to it that I want. I want something local,
Do you want it to feel
organic.
Like it's in Hawaii?
It'd be nice, I know that we can dress it up to feel like Hawaii, and I don't just mean like putting, fake banana trees in it or something. I'm talking about what would it look like if you walked into, a Hawaiian plate lunch place. It's not going to be fancy. It doesn't need to be fancy. Right. The main thing is that it's got the feel, the atmosphere, and that it's got the food that people are expecting. But we want a place that's got a patio. We want a place that can take,
Probably gonna have to incorporate drinks in, right?
Oh yeah,
you
gotta have
some
pina
food.
coladas and Mai Tais.
Yeah,
absolutely. Some Hawaiian Kona beer and things like that. There you go. Would be awesome. Yeah. But we're not in a hurry. I don't know if it will ever happen.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's got to be the right thing. It's it's commitment. That's
a lot.
Right now, like I said, I'm being tugged. Like, why do we have a food truck? Let's go visit the grandkids.
Your main competition isn't
Let's-
other trucks. It's
yeah.
your wife telling you to quit.
Let's go lay at the hookie lao. Why do we got to be here
That's fair.
shoveling food out the window? And I'm like,
Right.
because I really enjoy it, and I love the feedback that we get, and we're not done. As much as you might think that we've reached this level of notoriety, and the cooking channel has certainly helped that. It's still amazing how many people in St. Louis have never heard of us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And have never, and if they've heard of us, haven't experienced the food. And we want them to experience the difference. What is good poke? What is good Kahlua pig? Smoked pig that we do is not the same as all the other smoked pork in this barbecue, area that we live in.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it
crazy is
Hawaiian
that?
style. We're rubbing it down in Hawaiian Alea salt. We're letting it kind of cure in that salt for a day. We're wrapping it in banana leaves. We're smoking it over kiave wood.
Yeah.
And it's got a completely different flavor to it than what you would think of southern, pulled pork. So we want people to experience that, and that's what actually fuels me, is that somebody will say, "Oh, your poke is better than anything we ever had." So that's because it is poke. I mean, it is Hawaiian style, the way you would find it being prepared in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We're not a sushi restaurant who just happens to have all the ingredients to make poke, but we don't know how to make poke. We're just gonna.
Is that pretty common? You see,
Oh, absolutely.
in St. Louis or everywhere?
I think everywhere, really.
Yeah.
People will cut it up in
Yeah,
squares.
it's poke.
Yeah, and they call it poke.
Right.
It's more of a salad. It's
Yeah.
not really a Hawaiian style.
I've ordered poke at one other place, and I won't do it again.
Yeah.
I love your poke so much.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
the spicy is the way to go. But I did that, and I'm not even picking on them. I was just like, no, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah. Well, I even have family members who will grab poke at some, other place, and they're just like, I couldn't finish it. And I'm
Really?
like, I know. And that's what I want to do, is I want to spoil people to know, what does it taste like,
And that's your effort paying off too.
Authentic ingredients, authentic preparation. I mean, we would go out fishing in inner tubes, and sometimes on a boat.
Yeah.
Off a lay point, and
You ever see any of those man-sized sharks out there?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Boat-sized
Oh
sharks,
yeah,
I
and
should
barracuda and eels.
yeah.
and,
That's the thing. We're all like, oh man, I hope a shark. Like barracuda match up too.
And we would catch fish
Yeah.
at the net, pull it up into the boat or up into the inner tube sometimes, and we would cut it up and eat it right there.
Really?
I mean, to us that was poke, just
Yeah.
cubed live fish with shoyu sauce, which is soy.
Wow.
Shoyu sauce, and that's all you got on you. You may not even have that. You might just have seaweed that you grabbed out of the ocean and some fish, and that's what you make it out of. Now, that's the most
fantastic.
basic poke
Yeah.
you can ever think of.
Right.
But, the big poke scene in Hawaii is you go into IGA or to Foodland. Those are the kind of our Schnooks and Deerbergs
Sure.
on the islands. And in the deli section, they'll have containers full of different styles of poke.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
So they're going to have ahi poke. They're going to have, which is, the most basic Kanaka style. Kanaka meaning local.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have maybe hamachi poke. You're going to have taco poke. Taco is octopus. And you could have spicy ahi. They're going to have all these tubs, just like in Hawaii. I mean, in St. Louis, you go in, you say, I want some, mustacholi, and I want some potato salad. In Hawaii, you can walk in and you can say, okay, I need a half a pound of Kanaka style, and I want a quarter pound of taco poke.
Very nice.
Take it home.
Yeah.
Everybody grinds on it in the car. Take it to the beach.
Right. Just move it around.
Eat it with your musubi.
Now we're talking. Yeah, let's talk about this musubi. That's explain if you guys haven't heard of this. It sounds like the word's funny, and then if you saw it, you'd be like, "What is happening here?" And then you'd eat it, and you'd be like, "I need 7 of these." So
Yeah.
it's one of your more popular dishes.
Yes, it is.
Or items, I should say.
So when we first started the musubi, I'll describe what it is first. Musubi is a little block of.
It looks like a kid took something, and it said, make what looks like an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
It's what it looks like, where they're like, make it out of that cardboard or that construction
Yeah.
paper. Okay. And then they moved that. Like
It's basically like a
you look at it and you're
spam
like, what's
sushi
going on?
roll.
Basically, and
You
you
know?
use the seaweed paper.
So
right?
yeah, that's the nori that you wrap it in, and so it's a bed of rice and then a layer of sweet pancake, sweet egg pancake.
Yep.
And then you put in a slice of fried marinated teriyaki marinated spam, and then another layer of rice, and then you wrap that all in a nori sheet paper.
Yeah.
And it is a meal to go. And
it's funny too is that if you hear spam and go, oh
yeah.
shut up.
Yeah.
Stop it.
This is
right
better
now.
than bacon.
You don't know what you're talking about. These things are amazing. But yeah, and you run through those so fast. And you have to hand roll them and all
Yeah,
that. It takes a while
every
to make,
morning.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And when we go to Scott Air Force Base, we sell 40 of them.
Yeah.
They're just when we first started, we'd show up at like Wells Fargo and nobody knew what they were. We started cutting them up into halves and quarters and giving them away so that people could at least just taste them.
Yeah.
Before you know it, they're selling.
Right.
And now people will show up at the truck and say, at like 12 o'clock, and they're like, I'd like 2 musubi. I'm like, sorry, we're all sold out. They're like, oh, okay, and they walk away. It's like, that's it. That's all you wanted
Really?
was musubi.
That's poke it down. Yeah.
You got to get here early for the musubi, and we are both restricted by the time limits of what time you have to get up in the morning to start making them,
Right.
to how many you can actually get done.
Yeah.
So when people say, well, if you're going to sell out by noon, why don't you just make twice as many? It's like,
Right.
well, we're already getting up at like 4 in the morning
Yeah.
to start them, so.
Yeah. Limited return on that. Yeah. You don't
There
want to
is
put too much.
and
yeah.
there's times that we make 30 and we end up taking 6 home and handing them out to
Yeah.
neighbors and friends and people who appreciate them.
First one's free, right, Buzz?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before,
But our next product like that is the Manapua.
okay.
Manapua is a steamed bao bun that's got char siu pork, a Chinese barbecue inside. It's not really like the Chinese version of it. It's Hawaiian, and it's steamed, and it looks like a big dome. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and you eat one, and you're just like, I gotta have more. And Libby's Manapua on Kalihi Street on
Yeah.
Oahu was one of my favorite stops.
Yeah.
To zoom on my way to work, zoom by Libby's and pick up a box of Manapua, take those to work, share them with maybe one. No, I'd share with coworkers. Other
Yeah.
people do the same thing. They'd show
Right.
up one day and they'd have a pink box from Libby's.
You know what's up.
And I just heard from my daughter like a couple months ago that Libby's was closing. I'm like, this place is a national
staple.
treasure.
Yeah. Just done with the business.
When I first started going to Libby's, they were this, little teeny shack with a screen door that was cocked with a spring on it,
Yeah.
And by noon every day, they're closed. So if you don't get there by noon, the Manapuas are all gone. So then across the street, they're building this new factory, brick, cinder block factory. And they were going to just, triple their capacity. Guess what? Still, if you're not there by like 1 o'clock, gone.
Really?
To hear that they're closing, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How could they not
Like
sell
it
that
or
to
something,
somebody?
yeah.
Or where are the kids? I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. I don't know where
We'll have to
that will end up.
investigate. Yeah.
But when we land at Honolulu International, the Libby's is only 10 minutes away. And so the kids,
Are you gonna be able
we're
to
all
make it back
used
one
to,
last time or?
they're closed.
Oh, it's done.
It's done. I'm going back in May
Yeah.
for my grandson is graduating from Kahuku. Can't wait to go for that.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we're going to jump over to Kauai and visit a friend, and then
Do it right.
And then we're going to come back for the graduation luau, and I can't wait.
You better get somebody to start running your truck. You're going to get dragged out there before too long. Real quick, before we get out of here, and I didn't want to forget, earlier you were talking about potential expansion. We didn't really kind of button that up. You had talked about brick and mortar. I think I mentioned the second truck. Are you going to do that at all?
We are. We bought a small truck,
How small?
half the size of the original truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the advantage or disadvantage? What's the reasoning for that? It was available?
It was
or-
available.
Okay, I didn't know if that was like a strategy.
and I didn't want to necessarily go into a full second truck.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted something that we could do. We want to emphasize kind of in Hawaii, they have what's called the poo-poos. You know, you heard of the poo-poo platter, which is basically appetizers.
Yeah.
You know, but I wanted to kind of go into the fried donuts, the malasadas.
Oh, okay.
You know,
yeah.
and then maybe have some other, our Dole Whip, which is our
Oh, yeah.
frozen,
That's
you know.
the real deal.
Yeah, it's a frozen orange. We freeze it kind of like a custard cup,
Yeah.
you know, and more of a, you know, kind of a dessert sweet truck, but also be able to use it for as our catering truck for small events.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
You know, so we needed something that was small enough that we can just, you know, have pop-up events, and do shave ice, do the Dole Whip, do the malasadas.
Now, you can't drive both at the same time.
No, we're expanding.
Expanding.
You know,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's exciting.
yeah, you know, so that's something that we're currently building out that truck, and hope to get it out there this summer. And then catering's a big one that really is growing for us.
That's a great way to expand too. Just, I mean, events, etc. Everybody thinks it's cool when you have a food truck cater something for whatever reason.
Right.
It is cool, but there's like an extra love to it.
Yeah.
So the catering part, was it weddings and stuff during the summer? What do you?
Weddings, anniversaries, birthdays.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times there's people who are celebrating.
parties, everything.
Not too many of those.
Yeah. Well,
Haven't
maybe
had
it's a
it
new market. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a single one of those, but it's you know, it's festivals that they want to have a luau
Right.
presence. You
Yeah.
know, that they either they were married in Hawaii, they honeymooned in Hawaii. It's their
yeah.
anniversary. They're going to be married in honeymoon. We've had we've had engagement parties
So
where
it's
they're
part of
going
the
to
theme,
Hawaii
yeah.
to get married, like a destination wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a big market in Hawaii or big celebration in Hawaii is baby's first birthday.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like the christening happening around the first birthday, and they have
okay.
a birthday luau, and that's big. And
Interesting.
so
and there's more, and we're just talking about St. Louis, but there's more people that are Native Hawaiian that are here than you would ever think.
that's
too.
correct.
So
yeah,
they are going to seek you out for those events.
they are.
Because they're
But
traditions.
but like in one case, we had a couple who got they were married in St. Louis. They went to Hawaii on their honeymoon, and they stumbled across a baby's first luau, and they thought, you know, well, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
There's a park with a big party going on, and they ask, what's going on? And they're like, oh, this is
what we do.
Lonnie's first birthday party.
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
they're like, wow. So now they're back in St. Louis. They have a baby. Baby gets to their first birthday, and they
okay.
say, hey, let's do a baby luau. So they did a big luau, and
Yeah. That's fun to be a part of, too, that you're literally tied to people's life events.
yeah, you know, that's why, you know, I don't know that I'll ever want to just pack it up. I'll have to die first.
Well, you got the 2 trucks now.
We have
And the catering and
so
everything.
much,
So.
you know, still to do, and
Yeah.
you know, and basically to give. That's what, you know.
And that's the thing too, that people can say that all they want, but you know, I see the way you work, so it's nice to have the authenticity behind that.
Yeah, when you love what you do, you get that extra energy to get up. You know,
Pushing forward, right?
60 years old, I could be retired. You know, eating lunch at noon,
Out there,
eating lunch at 10, eating dinner at 5, watching
and you're out there
the news and going to bed.
sweating in a food truck.
Yeah, but I just don't see it being any other way.
Well, don't stop.
You know, and
I love your food.
Yeah, we go to other restaurants and stuff, and I
Yeah.
appreciate what they're doing,
Right.
and the hard work that it takes
Yeah.
every day to do it. And you know, the bad weather, that's the thing that probably in St. Louis we get a lot of clouds in the winter, and we get the cold. People won't go outside, and so we really
Storm
cut back our
season? Really?
storm season. We
Yeah.
cut back our schedule quite a bit in the wintertime, and we
hopefully
get a
that
lot of
catering
calls,
kinda
you know,
helps,
like, you know, this is when you ought to have a brick and mortar, because I can't wait until March to eat. And it's like, yeah, we really don't crank up our schedule until March.
Yeah.
We go to WashU every Tuesday, WashU Medical every Tuesday, and we go to Scott every Thursday. And outside of that, in the wintertime, we don't do a whole lot.
Really?
Just because we just find we find that we go and there's just not enough sales
Yeah.
to justify the effort.
Right.
And so we concentrate more on the
That's a tough thing, too.
catering
Yeah.
and the food delivery to office parks without actually taking out the truck during the winter time.
Yeah.
And then, I'm as anxious as anybody for the season to get better and
Yeah.
the food truck to get out.
Right.
But St. Louis is kind of a fair weather city. We're not, in Hawaii, you just walk around in the rain because it's still warm
Yeah.
out. You're at the beach in the rain. It doesn't matter because it's warm.
Yeah.
And the rain's going to pass.
True.
In St. Louis, it's cloudy for months on end and people get kind of down.
They do, and it's something that, it's for a place that it's very normal for it to rain. People still treat it like they haven't seen it before. So,
Yeah.
it's not fun to deal with. But either way,
But we love St. Louis, so,
absolutely, yeah. But you wouldn't be busting your tail if you didn't.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of work that goes into what you do. Anything else we need to know before you take off?
No,
We
just
covered a lot, man.
Probably right now, we follow us on Facebook, follow us on
Hit the website.
Instagram.
Yeah.
We're up for Sauce Magazine's food truck or the Reader's Choice
That's awesome.
award, and we're in the finalists for the food truck division.
Go vote for Buzz.
And then St. Louis Magazine has their Reader's Choice coming out
Yeah.
in just like a week or so.
That's exciting.
And we're in the finalists, the final 5 for Poke.
Gotta win
So
that.
we need votes there.
Anything less would be false. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to win that.
I would like to win that because it would be some type of validation that
Yeah.
we're on the right track. But we're basically up against brick and mortars that have a established clientele. And so I'm not going to be heartbroken if we don't. I know our poke is stellar.
You can't match up.
Yeah, and once you taste it, you won't go back.
That's how it works, man.
But it'd be nice to have that validation, you know.
Well, get out there and vote for Buzz. Absolutely. And we love St. Louis Magazine as well. Be sure, again, check out Buzz's website. You can see all the locations where he's going to be, all that good stuff, catering, all that. Man, thank you for coming in, dude.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. It's Chris Denman. We are live. If you haven't yet, make sure you review on iTunes and subscribe to the channel. It's called Media Outlaws. We're looking at maybe some changes to that. But for now, go subscribe on YouTube and check out the We Are Live Facebook. So Facebook, YouTube, whatever's happening. Follow everywhere. Do everything. Thanks, everybody.
We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live, live,